What's going on, everyone? I'm driving and my name's Greggo, and today we're gonna do a little bit different video, but first we're gonna get some froyo quick, so we'll be back shortly. Alright, this is what we got. We got the froyo. I got the cake batter with the cookies and cream, and she got these little chippies with
cake batter.
Cake batter.
And New York cheesecake.
New York cheesecake. That's it?
With hot fudge.
Hot fudge.
And some marshmallow.
You see, when I get the froyo, I don't get the crazy stuff. I keep it simple. All about the simplicity in the froyo. But this is what we're about to have right now. It's our treat tonight. Froyo. Alright, we're finally home. And like I said, today's going to be a new video. And what today's video is... That was a drum roll, by the way. Is a Q&A that I used on my Instagram. So, boom, at MacGreggo. If you would like to participate in the next one, because I think I'm going to be doing it again. We're going to see the responses, but I like these kind of videos, so we're probably going to be doing it again. So, MacGreggo for my Instagram. So, we're in the cozy chair right here, the comfy chair. This is where the thoughts happen. So, that's where we're going to do this video. Okay, so that's where the videos happen, right here. So, a little about me, quick, is that you know my name. I just introduced myself in the beginning of the video. I'm a men's physique competitor. I like business. In a great relationship. Have a lot of good people in my corner. Just a little brief rundown about me, but the thing is, we're going to talk about you guys and your questions today. So, question number 1. How heavy weight are you willing to go? So the question is how much weight are you willing to gain? So when it comes to that, I'm all about looking in the mirror and deciding what looks good and what doesn't look good. So I've noticed in the past, like for example, my biggest I've ever been was about 226. I'm like 214 now, and at 226 I was kind of out of shape. So with that being said, I don't want to ever be 226 and look like that again. So if I got to 226, it looked good and it fit the division for men's physique, I'd probably be okay with it. But if I was 226 lean and it didn't look good for men's physique, I mean, I would probably consider a new division. So in my current goal right now, it's to stay in men's physique. So if I was talking men's physique goal-wise, I would say not get too big. But in terms of weight, probably just I would add weight smart in the right areas. The scale doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It's more so what you look like in the mirror. So how big I'm willing to go? As much as it takes to get my goal. Simple as that.
Say it again. Question
number 2. Your favorite bodybuilder ever? So that question's hard to... I can't really pinpoint my favorite, but I'll give you my top 3. So number 1, Dorian. His nickname was the Shadow because he literally came out of the shadow when it was game day and just destroyed everyone. And his training was just... If you watch Blood and Guts, if you haven't watched it, go Google it, YouTube it. The way he trained, I just admire that. Like the hardcore, intense type of training. The people train hard, but like the way he trained and the way he acted and the way he carried himself, it was very admirable. So that's my first guy. Second guy, I think you have to put this guy in is Ronnie Coleman. Like, just his mentality and like he messed himself up squatting and doing all these crazy deadlifts and everything. But he was like, my biggest regret is not getting like 5 reps instead of 2 on an 800-pound squat or something like that. So like in terms of mentality and everything, you got to put Ronnie in that mix. Last, and this is no number order or anything. Last, I'd probably say Phil. Phil Heath is probably... Nah, I can't say that. Phil Heath has that relentless mentality. You can see the way he acts, the way he carries himself. And I really look up to the way he thinks and the way he acts. I mean, people think he's an asshole, but when you get to a certain level in the sport, you kind of have to have that confidence. Because if you don't, how are you going to get to that level? Like, you have to think differently if you want to be at the top at any sport, for that matter. So, Phil Heath, definitely in my mix of the top 3 right there. So, we got Dorian, we got Phil, and we got Ronnie. No order, but those are my top 3. Number 3, future goals within the sport. So I have a lot of goals outside the sport, inside the sport, so this is a really good question, honestly. So when I started competing, I didn't really even know what getting a pro card, even doing what that was. All I knew was that show I was doing. Like when I won the Lehigh Valley, I didn't even know anything besides that. It was like, this is a show I'm doing, I'm going to win, and then I won, and then I was kind of like, okay, so what's next? But now that I've been in the game for a while, I have a lot of goals within the sport. Simply, this is what all you know if you've been following me is to get my pro card. That's goal number 1. You know, I feel like I've had the opportunities to get it, haven't nailed it on certain shows. You know, I've gone top 5 twice, and when you're so close to getting it, it hurts. When you're on that stage and you hear a new IFBB pro and it's not you, it's like it's a weird feeling. So that's goal number 1. Goal number 2 is definitely to get to Olympia when I get the pro card, and I do think I can do that. You know, I think the pro card is very close, and I don't see any reason why I wouldn't go to Olympia when the time came. I know the way I am, and once I get that pro card, I feel like it's like I'm going to want to do shows after shows. So 2 goals is pro card, Olympia, and another goal. I know it's not a goal like this is more of a goal, like influencing people, is that I just want to keep inspiring people. Like, well, I started, documenting my journey to try to help people out, inspire people. And to this day, whenever I get messages like saying, yo, Matt, like, you helped me get in the gym, like, you inspired me, you motivated me, like, that stuff really means a lot to me. So I have goals of, like, overall goals, like a pro card and Olympia and all that stuff, but definitely probably the top one is just to inspire, motivate people, because that's a big reason why I document, like, YouTube videos and Instagram and make content on a higher scale. So those are my 3 goals within the sport. Number 4, any tips for young men's physique competitors? And I got a lot of them, so saddle up. So honestly, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Get a coach. And don't just get a coach, get a good coach. A guy who knows men's physique. Get a guy who knows the division, who has guys in the division. Someone who's maybe competed in the division even. Once you're at that point, then it's time to start, strategizing. I would really take your time. So I use myself as an example. I wanted to compete in 2013, but I was like, I'm way too small to do this. I'm not anywhere where I need to be. So I took the time off, and then I waited to compete until 2016. So that's a long time, but most people can't think long term that way. Like, I was always thinking the long game, like, yeah, I want to compete in 2014, but I'm not ready. Even in 2015, I'm like, I'm still not ready. In 2016, I'm like, I'm going to make myself ready at this point because I actually feel like I made the progress, but take your time. Patience is huge. Another one I would say is once you get to that point where you're in the prep, after you took the time to grow, is practice your posing as much as you can, because I'm going to tell you right now, especially at local shows, you see so many guys who just don't know how to pose, and it's like, you bust your ass, and you train really hard, you die really hard, people are going to use sacrifices with you in the prep, and you get on stage and you don't know how to pose, like, you're just hurting yourself, because you put so much work in, and you didn't even get to show the best package that you could bring. So, I practice, if your coach doesn't know how to pose, get a posing coach, practice posing non-stop. I would practice every single day for at least 20 minutes. When I did my first show, I was practicing, I was doing about an hour of posing a day. And tweaking what I needed to, film yourself with your coach and make tweaks as you guys need to. Another very good piece of advice would be, don't compare yourself with top pros. I see so many people, and this goes for all divisions, like, they're competing for the first time, they're like, I'm looking at, like, Jeremy Buendia or Andre Ferguson, I'm like, you haven't even stepped on a stage. How can you compare yourself to the top of that sport? Like, no, you can't look at the top men's physique guys and compare yourself, because honestly, you can't. It's impossible. They've been competing for 10 years. You haven't even done your show. You gotta be realistic. You can't start comparing yourself to people like that. It's gonna hurt you. You always gotta be analyzing your physique, seeing what your strengths and weaknesses are, and improving. So don't compare yourself to the top in the game. Use them as motivation, but don't compare your physique to them, if that makes sense. So yeah, patience, posing, getting a good coach, and just being real with yourself. I think those are 4 major tips for any young men's physique competitor to use and utilize in that first show experience. Make it a good one. Feel good when you get on stage and you put in the work and you were smart about the work you put in. I think this is number 5. We're going to go with number 5. What are one of the things you do when you're drained and tired from a long week of training and are having a hard time staying motivated in the gym? Well, just before we get into that, is that motivation comes and go, but discipline is what keeps you going. You need the consistency. So I've been super motivated. There's been times where I haven't been motivated, but I always have strong discipline and still do the things I need to do, like training, cardio, and meals. Like, you cannot fall off just because you're lacking motivation, because nobody is motivated all the time. But one thing I would do if you're lacking some motivation is just think about why you started. That's probably the biggest thing. Like, think about what got you going in the first place. Like, I always think about when I was, 120 pounds when I first started training, and I still had the mentality, but I always go back to it and be like, wow, I came a long way, but I want to keep pushing. So I cannot miss these meals tomorrow. I cannot miss this training tomorrow. I cannot miss the cardio tomorrow. I need to keep pushing. I have a lot of people who watch me too. I want to make sure I'm motivating them. So that stuff is things that fire me up. I got a lot of people that are in my corner that, loved ones, and I want to make sure I make them proud. So there's so many different ways to get motivation. If you got good people beside you and with you, that's a huge motivation factor right there. You want to make them proud. So find what motivates you and utilize that. Recording. Number 6. How often should you implement a refeed? Okay, and by the way, guys, I'm just doing this, like, I'm reading questions, just answering. I have not prepared for this. They're just off the top of my head. So this is something you would have to discuss with your coach, honestly, but the way I do things is like I do a carb cycle and there's kind of refeeds built in, but a lot of people have different definitions of refeed. Some people think it's a cheat meal. Some people do a simple like calorie bump of like clean food. So the way I use refeeds is if I'm doing a carb cycle, I usually have a high day, low days and all that. But if they need a little bit more carbs, I just put them in strategically. Maybe post workout, pre workout. But everyone's different when it comes to refeeds, and some of the things I go off of is I can tell when someone's body's tired. That's probably the best thing you can see. Like a muscle, you can see when muscles are tired and they need some more, refuel. They need like a little life in them. So that's something you and your coach are going to have to figure out. Like some people have fast metabolisms, they need more refeeds. So it just kind of comes down to what it works best for you. But for example, for me, because I know this probably would help, is that I do need refeeds. And I really don't know if I need the cheat meals, to be honest with you. That's, whatever you want to call it, cheat meals, refeeds. I just simply need like a higher like carb day, for example. That would really fill me out. The cheat meals do work at sometimes, but I feel like I have to be really sucked down to have a cheat meal really be efficient. But usually for me, higher carbs does a trick. So I get nice glycogen fullness, looks sick. And then obviously it tapers down throughout the week, but then you get back up a little bit. But don't over refeed, because if you over refeed, you're not going to be burning fat because you're going to be in a surplus. So at the end of the day, you have to be in a deficit, but that little bump will help you out in the long run. What is this, number 7?
Yeah,
number 7?
I think so. Yeah.
I think this is number 7. We're not the best at this. This is our first one. The importance of cardio into your training and how often should you incorporate it in. So obviously cardio is important, for heart health and everything. But for example, like if you're doing a contest prep or you're in a diet trying to lose body fat, cardio is very important. It can be a massive tool to help you lose body fat. I would say, you start with a basic, like, when I get a client, usually it's like, if we're doing a diet, I might just start in for 3 times a week at 25 minutes, maybe 30. It depends. Like, you have to feel it out. With your coach, you gotta make sure you got good feedback. If you start to really lose weight fast, you just start to lose pumps in the gym, lose your strength, there's probably a reason you might be, over cardioed. Maybe you're dieting too hard. So the cardio and the diet have to be in sync. But I would say, if you're just starting a diet, you can't go wrong with like 25 to 30 minutes of steady state cardio 3 times a week. I think that's fine for anyone. This is a question, but it just was kind of like a statement. So this is number 8, and it's different training methods. So I'm not going to list different ones. I'm going to name you the one I primarily do. So I'm big on progressive overload. But that gets kind of a misconception because you think like you just add weight. But I will say that even since the quarantine, I backed off on weight on certain things to fix my form, and now I'm doing progressive overload on that. So I could have just kept adding weight with the subpar form and not being really optimizing my growth, but now I brought it back, and I'm increasing weight with the form correctly. And like for example, like my chest has grown a lot. I would say my upper back has grown a lot too. Grown a lot since I fixed my form a little bit. So progressive overload done in the right way. You got to make sure the form is perfect. Well, not perfect. You got to make sure the form is good and you're hitting the muscle the way it's supposed to. That's a big thing because when I was younger, I would just smack weight around, not really getting the benefit. But now with the form correct, primarily correct, and adding weight, things have been moving a lot better. So try progressive overload. Research it if you want to look further into it. But you got to do it right. That's the main take home. We don't know.
Yeah.
Next question. How about that? What do you think the biggest thing you need to do your last week before a show is? This is going to be a good one because it's very simple. Do not do crazy shit the last week. Don't do crazy shit. Keep it simple. Honestly, by this time, if you've had a successful prep and you kept burning the fat, the last week should just be a smooth sail to the end. And the second you start to add all this crazy shit, your body doesn't know how to respond. You want the variables controlled. You start throwing all this crazy food it's not used to. You don't know what's going to happen, where it's going to go. You might do some crazy sodium manipulation, water. That could work for you, but you should not be trying this the last week because you could really damage the look you're supposed to bring on that game day. Because I know I've done that since I've started competing. Because my first show, it was very simple. Like I just didn't do much, and that was one of my best looks. And then it's like you try to find, I want to be better, and then you try to get like 2% better, and you end up being 10% worse. So you got to make sure you weigh those options out. Because I know moving forward, I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm keeping it simple because I know it works for me, obviously, at this point. But for your first show, keep it simple. Don't try and experiment. Just do what works best for you, and I'm pretty sure you're going to have good experience come game day. Next question. We're not doing any counting anymore. Do you ever think about doing classic? And that's a question I get a lot, because I would say I'm a bigger men's physique guy. I'm not like the biggest, but I'm a pretty big men's physique competitor. And I do have wheels, got the wheels. So, yes, I've thought about doing classic. And what I tell people all the time, and some people understand it, some don't, because a lot of people tell me, I think you can do better in classic, and I might. I might be able to do better in classic, but I'm big on starting something and finishing it. And my goal is to finish what I started in men's physique. I want to go pro. I want to make my strides and keep working my way up in the ranks. So I don't plan on going to classic anytime soon because I want to finish what I started in men's physique. I'm big on that. So yes, I've thought about doing classic. Will I be doing it soon? Probably not. Could I do it? Absolutely. But right now it's just not on the cards. Next question. Max bench press. What's my max bench press? Well, I can tell you this. I have no damn clue because I don't bench press. The only thing I do is incline barbell bench press, and I'm pretty strong at that, I would say, but I'm still not, like I said, when I was younger, I would slap the weight on, do 315, YOLO reps, but now it's like a little bit more careful. I do flies before it now. I do exercise before the compound incline barbell press. I don't do the flat at all. Just that exercise terrifies me. I'm not going to lie to you, so I just don't do it at all. So sorry I can't answer that, but I have done, I think, 365 in incline, so that's not too bad. Like this video, share this video. If you enjoyed, let other people know. The channel's growing. I'm very appreciative of everything that's been going on recently. We've had a lot of growth in June and July. I just want to keep this going, so subscribe, like, share the video if you enjoyed. So that's going to do it for today's video. A nice Q&A with you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm probably going to do this again, and I'll let you know on my social media when I do. And we get some more questions. I know this one, we had a decent amount of questions in this one. They were all good ones too. I can't complain about the questions. Like I enjoyed them all. So I would like to do this again. Let me know if you like it, what you want me to tweak. And I shall see you guys in the next video. I'm out of here.